Hello everybody and all aboard to Chef's Choice. Today I want to talk about something that has led to quite a few misunderstandings, as far as I can tell, and that has led to controversial discussions. And that is the missing LED screens on stage in Lisbon. I wanted to talk about this for a while, but I expected that we would know a little bit more by now. But the latest news about this is when the stage design was announced in mid-December. So the only things we know for sure are that the stage will look like this, and that there won't be fixed LED screens in the background or on the floor or anywhere else on the stage. The stage designers said back then basically that this was meant to force the delegations of the countries to think out of the box and not to rely on artificial wonder worlds to support their acts. And I think that's a great idea, because the graphics on the screen only rarely were used to actually add content to the performance, but rather just to create a certain atmosphere. And that is possible with other tools just as well. But a lot of people reacted disappointed because they seem to expect to be thrown 10 or 15 years back in time, and I'm sure that won't be the case. Technology didn't just further develop LED screens over the years, but also everything else that is used in stage design. Just because the screens aren't there doesn't mean that a diverse and dynamic lighting situation that creates special segments for each song won't be possible. There are so many different kinds of lights on this stage that can be used together or separately, and there are the tubes in the back that probably still will be able to display some sort of low-resolution graphics. So I'm not doubting that we will see 43 very diverse performances in regards to the lighting. And there's always the option for the countries to come up with their own props for the stage, like Azerbaijan's box last year as an example for something very simple and analog, or Russia's LED wall in 2016 as a digital example. So no country is limited to what the stage itself is offering. Of course, this raises the question whether the lack of LED screens will benefit mostly the countries that are able to invest more money in their performance and basically bring their own stage with them, like Sweden will probably do with Benjamin Ingrosso's light installation, and leave the countries with lower budgets with the standard options of the stage. And I would say that this can be an issue, but it doesn't have to be. You can put together the greatest performance of the night with very simple tools, as Portugal proved last year. Of course, that is probably easier to do for a ballad than for an upbeat dance song, but as long as you have great performers that can express the meaning of their song through their voice and their body language, you have nothing to be afraid of. But if you're used to rely on a glossy background that distracts from the lack of personality and depth of a song and performer, then you might have a problem. But humans have created performances since thousands of years, so I'm sure the countries can come up with a current presentation of their songs as well. But there are also two things that I'm afraid of as a result of this decision to not have LED screens fixed on stage. The first thing is that we might see a comeback of strange circus acts and other byproducts that are used to fill up the stage, but have nothing to do with the actual performer. Last year I don't think we had any of these, which I was really happy about. So who knows, maybe the astronaut dancers or the Cirque du Soleil acrobats are coming back in Lisbon. And that's where it might feel like a step back in time. And the other thing that I'm afraid of is that there will be a big rise in augmented reality elements and virtual motion graphics that are only visible through the screens, like Khanagyan used for her virtual copies of herself, or the strange squiggly lines of Christian Kostov last year. So far, I've never seen this technique used in a good way, in my opinion, though. It has never really worked that well because it always felt too artificial for me. Maybe the best version of this was Dami Im's performance in 2016. Now, this can go either way. Maybe because there are only limited options on the stage, this will push this technique to a new level and actually create something magical that changes the perception of the whole contest through the camera completely. Or it will lead to a bunch of desperate tries to enhance an otherwise mediocre performance that aren't really necessary. And we shouldn't forget that even though the show, of course, is made for TV, there's also a live audience in the stadium, and they won't see any of these virtual elements. So for them, and this year I will be a part of them for the first time, it might be disappointing because half of the performance happens only in the editing room and not on stage. But I guess we'll see soon how this will turn out. So just to summarize, no LED screens doesn't mean there won't be diverse performances. No LED screens doesn't mean there won't be no LED screens at all, but they aren't the standard option on stage. AR might be used as a substitute technique to enhance performances, which can work in their favor or as a distraction and will leave the live audience questioning where the rest of the performance went. Individual props and sets might be brought in by the countries to create their own surroundings and distinguish themselves from the rest. Charismatic performers with stage presence and expressive voices and quality songs might stand out more because they can use their talent to shine. We might see an even bigger difference in budgets between the countries, which I don't hope. And we might see more dancers, acrobats, or just props like last year's balloons and cannons and moons and stairs. So there are positive and negative sides to this, as there is with everything in life. To conclude, I'm just hoping that it results in a boost of creative thinking and using this opportunity to show something that hasn't been done before. But what do you think about all this? Do you think it's positive change, or do you think it will look like a low-budget version of Kiev? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of me, subscribe to my channel. For now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.